Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another 3 questions in 3 minutes with our LGBTQ plus power players. Today, however, we have a special edition. I am here with Rachel Wilkins, the amazing, wonderful, talented artist who designed our cover art for the LGBTQ plus section. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Anna. It's so great to be here, and thank you for inviting me to participate. I appreciate it.
Yes, it has been an absolute joy working with you. So I kind of want to ask you about your creative process and if it's more spontaneous or if it's more planned or if there's a balance between those two.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question because it's really evolved over my years as an artist. I'm now in my 40s. And so in my 20s, I was very intuitive and I would throw paint around. And then in my 30s, I got a little more structured and was more intentional about what I put on the canvas. And in my 40s, surprisingly, I found a way to bring those two things together. So particularly with this LGBTQ series that I created, I obviously had intentions about who I wanted to encapsulate and who I wanted to honor. But I was also able to just get in the studio, be creative, and just really see what kind of flowed out of me and do some intuitive background paintings for these portraits as well. So a little bit of both.
Wonderful. Yeah, well, you've succeeded immensely because they are stunning and beautiful. Every single one is incredible in its own way. So I want to ask you about your organization because you also co-founded an organization called Conception Arts, in which you are able to help other artists show their art, exhibit their art, sell their art. So what was that like for you, founding that organization and then working with other artists to amplify their work?
It's been like, and I don't mean to sound like woo-woo, but it's been one of the biggest privileges of my life because the reason I started Conception Arts was because I went through so many negative experiences as an artist trying to cut her teeth in New York City. I had literally a door closed in my face by a gallerist. So I didn't ever want any other artist to go through what I went through. And so when we founded the organization, the goal was really to just take out the middleman, take out the gallery, take out the dealer, and put artists directly in front of people who enjoyed and valued their work. And so for 10 years, for a whole decade, we, through these underground art events that put the artist up close with the collector, that even created new collectors, people who would never have walked into a gallery. And we were able to just elevate and inspire and really motivate purchases from collectors and build this incredible community of artists in 14 cities around the US. So over the decade, we worked with over 8,000 artists in 14 cities. We did over 100 art shows. We, traveled from coast to coast and all the cities in between and got to see the richness of American creativity. It was just such a gift. And thankfully, I still have such a connection to this incredible, inspiring, just underground art scene that exists in the US. So really just an absolute privilege to be able to build that business.
You've also said in the past that dictators are threatened by artists, and I would love for you to expand a little bit on this.
There's no time like the last 10 years where we've really seen art as a form of activism. I think back to, obviously we were talking briefly earlier about Larry Kramer, like that image of silence equals death with the pink triangle is so prominent and so jarring, right? It's featured in iconography for decades. An artist created that, right? Most political posters that you see, an artist created that. But more so, in terms of like rebellion, right? Artists actually getting out and, pushing conversations. So I think that art has always just been a great agitator. It's such a good visual agitator, and it often inspires conversation. And I think as artists, we definitely have a responsibility to narrate what's happening in the world. But I am also hyper aware of the risks that come with that. I will just say art is the great agitator, and it has got under the skin of a lot of politicians, and hopefully it has inspired people to think a little differently. You know, that's what we do. We're storytellers. We are here to document and narrate what is happening around us.
You know, right now we're seeing political rhetoric that is so incredibly divisive, and it has the ability to ground you in a sense of community and commonality. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me and for helping us with this section. It's really amazing what you've been able to do.
I'm so excited and I'm honored to be included. And thank you, Anna. You're awesome.